Before we get to the show for today, I want to thank our sponsor, Anchor.fm. As you probably have heard by now, SportsWire has moved to Anchor.fm for its podcast hosting and distribution. It's the easiest way to make a podcast, and let me explain why. Main reason is that it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer, and then Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on any platform there is. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, anywhere. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So take it from me, Vinny Apicella from the Sports Wire. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the most electrifying podcast in all of internet radio today. You are listening to the Sports Wire. My name is Vinny Apicella, and today is Friday, right? Yeah, Friday, November 22nd, 2019, and we've got a jam-packed show for you today. I did not do one yesterday simply because, I just never got around to it. I was just way too busy, and, I just couldn't do it. But I'm back here today, and I'm ready to do one now. So, here we go. Big big stuff. Jim Cornette is still in the news. The ratings came out for Wednesday night. NXT finally won the week. Over 960,000 people compared to AEW's 870,000 or something like that. So it was a slight win, but it was still a win. More people in general tuned into wrestling. As far as demographics go, the only one that NXT won was the 50-plus crowd. But you know what? Whatever. It's not a war. A lot of people are saying, "Oh yeah, the downfall." AEW keeps saying it's not a war, but yet they keep sending shots against WWE. And then somebody came up with, "Why is it so bad for AEW to send shots at WWE?" Look at what Eric Bischoff was doing during the Monday Night Wars back in, the 90s. And all the shots, and McMahon fears ratings and whatever. So, I responded. And the difference being that WCW, in the form of both NWA and WCW, had been around for decades, making talent. And they'd been around. They had pay-per-views. They had syndicated shows. They had a weekly show on Saturday night before the Monday Night Wars. Okay? So, coming into the Monday Night Wars, they were already an established company. Now, maybe they weren't fully mainstream because they were on TBS and TBS, regional, Saturday night, Southern, whatever. But they were still known. So they just got a bigger audience. And, that's why they were able to take the shots at WWE. Not that it was great, or not that it was good business or whatever, but they did have a backing behind it. They were able to back it up instead of just, all right, so AEW, in my opinion, is not going to last very long. And in order to last longer than I expect it to, they need to shape up. They need to they need to stop being, reactive or being specifically the little brother to the WWE. And here's what I mean by that. I watched almost all of Dynamite on Wednesday night, or from Wednesday night. I haven't finished it all because my internet went down, but for the most part, I watched it. And here's the thing, okay? They're still in their honeymoon period. They have a huge indie-based following, gamers, because the Young Bucks and Omega are big gaming people, and, and the indie guys and whatever. But they're showing too much stuff on their shows that indie guys do. And that's because they basically got a whole ton of indie guys, with the exception of Jericho, Cody, and Moxley. The Young Bucks, for as big of names they are, where have they actually wrestled? New Japan, Ring of Honor. They're indies in the U.S. Omega, same thing. He had WWE developmental, but, he never made it to the WWE. And the Young Bucks were in TNA for a cup of coffee as Generation Me or whatever. But they have a bunch of indie guys other than Moxley, Jericho, and Cody, and Goldust. And, even MJF, for as good as he is, he's been on MLW, but he hasn't really had that experience of a major company like the other ones I named. So here's the thing, all right? They're catering to the indie crowd. If you watched Dynamite this past Wednesday, or at least on demand or whatever, and you watch that Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, where the two winners of the Battle Royal go on to wrestle next week to win a diamond ring, which is quite dumb, but whatever. That's their gimmick. WCW did that for a while. The Battle Bull ring, remember? more comparisons to WCW. That's all they need. But anyways, and it was a 12-man over the top rope battle royal. Okay, 12 guys. Okay, and here's the problem. They say that they don't want to be the WWE. They say they're making these shots at WWE and everything, but yet Billy Gunn comes out and his daggone Titantron video and ring music are DX inspired, if not just like a slightly different instrumental version of the DX song with no lyrics. And then his Titantron is, the black and neon green with an X there, and it's like, really? I get it, don't get me wrong. Billy Gunn made his best success as part of the New Age Outlaws, as part of DX. I get that. But he's in a new company now. You can't use the same gimmick. And, I'm kind of surprised WWE hasn't gone for gimmick infringement yet, but whatever. I'm sure he's used something similar like that on the indies, so it worked out. Whatever. But the other thing is, okay, so they had Sonny Kiss, who, big time subject of debate because of his lifestyle choice as a cross-dresser and, whatever, drag queen. He comes out there and starts twerking right in front of Billy Gunn. And they're saying, oh, Billy Gunn, he really loves, he really loves asses, this, that, the other thing. And then Billy turns around and whatever, shows his, shakes his butt a little bit, but it wasn't nearly as bad as what Sonny Kiss did to Tommy Dreamer in that Double or Nothing Casino Battle Royale. That was ridiculous. But then you had Marco Stunt in there. Okay, he didn't really do too much. He got tossed around like a little kid, like he should have been. Orange Cassidy comes up to Billy Gunn and starts, puts his hands in his pockets and starts to lightly kick Billy Gunn's shins, and then that stupid light side kick. And it's like, really? Why? Like, number one, in a real fight, the guy would have had his head knocked off after the first time he tried it. I mean, and if AEW is trying to do legitimate, make it look like it's a legitimate fight or whatever, a legitimate sport, Orange Cassidy would be nowhere near it. Marco Stunt would be nowhere near it. Sonny Kiss would be nowhere near it. But whatever, that's their prerogative. I just don't see mainstream audiences liking that stuff. I think, and then also Jimmy Havoc coming back in after being eliminated and stapling people with a freaking staple gun. He stapled people in the ass, he stapled people in the crotch, stapled people in the stomach and the hand, and it's like, really? Now I understand Jim Cornette saying, the outlaw mudchill goof. Because that's what they are. That's exactly what they are. Mainstream, that's one of the reasons why ECW couldn't get over, is because mainstream sponsors wouldn't pay for that kind of garbage. And with the current situation at TNT, where I think they split ad revenue or whatever, they, All Elite has to produce. They have to produce a show that people are going to want to sponsor. And I'm quite sure that, TNT is going to be looking at stuff and be like, what the hell is this? This isn't what we signed up for. Good parts about the Battle Royal. At the very beginning, Christopher Daniels comes out dressed like Rey Fenix and helps to eliminate Pentagon. And then MJF and Hangman Page were the two winners. They'll go on and fight next week, which was pretty good. I liked it. I liked that ending. I liked how it came out, and I'll look forward to that match next week. The match that kicked it off was Rey Fenix versus Nick Jackson. I think one of the young bucks. Nick Jackson, and the match was all high spots, all flippy stuff, which we know is the calling card of the Young Bucks, which is the calling card of most of the talent there, and I say talent loosely, but there's no psychology to it, no selling. Rey Fenix hit an awesome looking diamond cutter, RKO, ace crusher, whatever you want to call it, cutter on the floor, on the cement floor. They go to commercial, and then, the Young Buck is back fighting. Nick Jackson is back fighting. It's like, seriously? And then Phoenix ends up winning later on with a muscle buster type move. And it's like, seriously? How can you, it's, again, no selling. No, that diamond cutter to the outside should have been it. Rey Fenix gets back in the ring. Nick Jackson can't get the count. It's a count out victory. Or you roll him back in, and, Phoenix pins him 1, 2, 3 just like that. Or maybe even kicking out at 2.5 because he took time to roll him out. But an RKO on the cement should have been the victory, in my opinion. All right, next up, Proud and Powerful, Ortiz and Santana against Private Party. Here's the problem with the AEW referees. They don't know how to adapt, okay? And again, this is unfortunately the problem with a scripted environment, with professional wrestling sports entertainment nowadays, okay? But the difference being the WWE referees understand and know how to ad-lib or adapt if something happens and somebody misses their spot or misses their timing or whatever. During that match, I think it was, Proud and, I think it was one of the Private Party members had either Santana or Ortiz down for a cover and for a pinfall. Referee goes to count 1, 2 and stops the count. The shoulders weren't up. The idea being that, someone was supposed to pull the referee out of the ring, and they missed their cue. So the referees just stuck with they should have just done the shoot pinfall and figured out a way to get out of it afterwards. But, I understand they're going through growing pains. But the problem is they have the audience that they should be going after and the audience that they are going after. The audience that they should be going after are the sponsors, but B, they should go for the mainstream wrestling fans. The fans that are clamoring for something, an alternative to the WWE ever since WCW closed in 2001. Impact couldn't do it. Ring of Honor couldn't do it. MLW couldn't do it. New Japan is big, but they're over in Japan. So this is the first time, and a billionaire is backing it. So do it the right way. You've got Chris Jericho as your world champ. All right, great. Next week, you got Chris Jericho defending the title against Scorpio Scott. That's going to be transactional. Yeah, that's going to be an awesome match. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then Hangman Page and MJF for that Dynamite ring or whatever it is. Those matches are going to be great. But it's what else happens on the show that's the problem. They have to build their characters up. Okay? Especially if they're going to do a women's division the right way, they have to build it up. Okay? Because right now you've got a ton of Japanese girls that nobody's heard of. And I'm not saying anything against the Japanese. They're fantastic. But you need to introduce them to the mainstream American audience. Your first world champion should have been either A, Britt Baker, or B, Nyla Rose. Why? Because those are two women that are well known in the United States. Okay? And one is your top babyface with Britt Baker, supposedly, even though she looked more like a heel this past week. But Britt Baker is your main babyface, and Nyla Rose is your monster heel. Okay? And it's just, that's how you should be doing it. If you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. Okay? That's all there is to it. We don't need that many Japanese girls at a time. You want Riho in there 98 pounds? Fine. But she should never win the championship, or she should come very close, kind of like a Mikey Whipwreck. Be in a tag team. Be in a stable. Maybe become a heel where you have to cheat to win. You have a manager to help you win. That's a possibility. But not to the point where Riho beats Nyla Rose. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. But that's just my opinion. All right. More backlash on Jim Cornette. He said he's going to talk about it on his podcast tomorrow, later today, the Jim Cornette Experience. I recommend you checking it out. Okay? Now, like I said, he and I don't see eye to eye when it comes to politics because he's a staunch Trump hater. He's definitely got Trump derangement syndrome. But at the same time, when it comes to wrestling, he's spot on. And, it's like he doesn't, as far as I know, I don't think he has a racist bone in his body. And nothing he said was racist or meant to be racist either. So that's that. All right. Thank you all for listening, as always. I'll be back tomorrow with another show. My name is Vinny Apicella. You can follow me on Twitter at VApicella_SWE. You can follow SportsWire on Twitter and Instagram at SportsWire Audio. Email us sportswireaudio@gmail.com. And then go to our anchor.fm page, which is www.sportswireaudio.com. You can go ahead and support or sponsor the show right from that page. And you can also donate to my No Shave November charity as well for this month. no-shave.org/member/Vinny881. Okay, so I'm going to end this show for right now. Have a good night, everybody, or have a good day. And I'll see you back here tomorrow, right here on the Sports Wire.